All new tonight at 6, we have an in-depth look at the future of trans health care in the state of Florida.
But we begin tonight with the major news today as a federal judge has issued a preliminary injunction on Florida's newly enacted ban on transgender care for minors, siding with 3 transgender children whose parents brought the case.
The law was due to take effect in just a few weeks and would have barred gender dysphoria patients from receiving puberty blockers. His ruling said in part the state has no rational basis for denying patients treatment and that gender identity is real. He also asserted that banning these treatments ignores risks that patients might face, such as suicide and depression. One important note on this, the initial injunction only covers the treatment for those 3 children who brought the lawsuit forward. However, an attorney representing them says it does offer more for the community as a whole.
I think this is going to, obviously provide care to the plaintiffs who desperately need access to it, but also provide hope for the trans adults and parents of trans minors throughout Florida who are very concerned about remaining here and about their safety and their rights here.
On the other side of the coin, the sponsor of the House version of the bill, Representative Randy Fine, weighed in on Twitter today saying, quote, "It's clear the Democrat Judge Hinkle is a science-denying wokist whose radical order will soon be overturned by jurists who actually believe in science. We will not stop fighting to defend children from those like Hinkle who support child castration and mutilation," end quote. This entire situation is something we've followed very closely, bringing you countless reports from the Capitol. This as the laws went through the legislature and hearing the real-life stories of the people whose lives are directly impacted.
Tonight, we're going even further in depth with ABC Action News reporter Eric Waxler, speaking with members of the trans community who say that while these laws are geared towards children, their impact reaches many more people.
This is what me and my children refer to as the escape pod.
Kaylee Kerin is packing up this RV and getting set to leave Florida with her 2 children after living in Pinellas County for close to 20 years.
Would I think I'd be leaving? No. Do I want to leave? No. Do I think it's the right thing to do? Yes.
Kaylee says it's the right thing to do because of new laws signed by Governor Ron DeSantis. Some of those laws are focused on gender-affirming care.
Ultimately, I'd rather get out while it's still safe to do so and it's easy enough to do so.
The transgender community is in a spiral. It is very sad to see what's happening.
Dr. Bob Wallace says he is one of very few physicians in the area willing to still treat transgender patients. He says many clinics are trying to figure out how to operate under new regulations. Nurse practitioners can no longer prescribe hormones, and patients are required to sign informed consent forms. Doctors and pharmacists are also allowed in recently passed laws to refuse to treat transgender people.
We're afraid of backlash. We don't know what will happen from some of the crazy community members that we have here, but we care about everybody.
The governor and many other Republican lawmakers have been outspoken on the new restrictions involving transgender people, but much of their focus has involved children.
We need to let our kids just be kids. And we have a very crazy age that we live in.
You're allowed to be stupid in this country. So there's no desire to stop this for adults. Children, it's a whole different story. You can't get a tattoo. You shouldn't be able to cut your breasts off.
The trans community is an easy target because it's the most misunderstood.
Tristan Burns is transgender and also a therapist who helps others. He says another new law causing confusion and fear involves bathrooms in government buildings. The law says someone can be charged with a misdemeanor trespassing offense if they use bathrooms that don't align with their gender at birth.
The men are more comfortable with me in the men's bathroom than the women would ever be in the women's bathroom. So what bathroom am I supposed to go into? By law, in a government building, I'm supposed to walk into the women's room. It doesn't make any sense.
Meanwhile, Kaylee is making final plans to leave the state, but she's not sure just yet where her family will end up.
I'm leaving just about everything I have because this is scary.
Eric Waxler, ABC Action News.
Eric, thank you. And that sentiment of feeling the need to leave the state is something we're hearing more about. Jameson, I know you have information on the financial impact of all of this.
Yeah, we do, Wendy. It's obviously not cheap to just pick up and move in any circumstance, really. So I wanted to look more into this. And immediately I turned to GoFundMe. Just by doing a quick search, I found hundreds of people fundraising to relocate themselves and their family out of Florida. However, this is just a fraction of the population here in the state. A study done by the Williams Institute at the UCLA School of Law estimates there are 95,000 200,000 transgender adults living here in the state of Florida. GoFundMe says they have observed a 520% increase from May 2022 to May 23 in fundraisers to support this type of cause. To break that down a little bit more, from April to May of this year, the website saw a nearly 40% increase in the amount of fundraisers benefiting relocation from Florida. Overall, more than $200,000 has been raised so far this year on GoFundMe to support transgender people and families looking to leave Florida in response to recent legislation.